Welcome to Falcon County Park in Falcon Heights, Texas. Google lists it as Falcon Campsite. It also has been referred to as Starr County Campground, but that's not as common. I'm not sure why it wasn't named that, since the place is in Starr County. Perhaps it would be confused with the Starr County Park in Rio Grande City. As you may have heard in previous videos, when I arrived in Falcon Heights on that dreary and wet day, I found the gates closed and chained. It seems the park had been closed for cleaning and maintenance for a while, some of it delayed due to weather. So, lessons learned: when planning a visit in the fall, call the Starr County 2nd District Commissioner and check to see if the place is open. Well, I've been here for a little while, and I guess I should present my initial opinion of the place. I might as well start with the negatives first. I suppose I should mention that currently the only information about this park is from various comments from past visitors, but nothing from the local government. No official webpage. As you can see, the roads are of questionable condition. Some of them seem to be best avoided during or just after a storm. The powdery Texas soil soaks up the rain and turns it into putty. When driving through the campground after a rain, you'll not see a mud puddle anywhere, and you won't find out about the soft ground until you land in a rut that the loose soil had previously filled in. Other than that, the ground is moderately hard. Some places it's almost like a rock. What was supposed to be a draw about this place, namely free showers and flush toilets, turned out to be less than attractive on first glance. The toilet is functional but rustic in nature. The notice says to flush twice, but I found that to be a minimum requirement. It needs a bit of technique. Of course, I had to supply my own toilet paper. I can only guess the shower was an afterthought when this building was constructed. The drain is little more than a hole in the wall, and the reason it takes 4 minutes to get hot water appears to be because the water heater is elsewhere, possibly in the locked-up office building next door. There used to be a dump station in the northwest corner, but it appears to have been capped off. At the back of the park, there's a nice little gazebo. Could use some maintenance though. And in the gazebo there's a little place to sit there in the middle, and a little cabinet back there for various items, including books you want to exchange. And up along the rafters there is electrical outlets. The roof seems to have holes in it, not exactly a haven from the rain. I'm not sure if the free exchange idea is still popular. Many of the items appear to be unwanted by anyone, and the books have been damaged by weather. I suspect at one time this was supposed to be an ivy-covered arbor, a shaded escape from the Texas heat, but it seems to have been neglected for a while. In its day, I suppose, this water fountain was a good idea, but unfortunately it's been left to decay into disuse. The place is scattered with cement picnic tables, but it seems many have been neglected for some time. Added to that, there are these old grills that have been met with a similar fate of abandonment. Goodness knows what could be living in them now. Looks like there's a homeless shelter here in one spot, although it looks more like a nest. No one was there, but it doesn't really add to the appeal of the place. Who knows? Maybe the former occupant now lives in a van at Slab City and no longer needs the stuff left behind. Now when it comes to TV's reception, unfortunately all the channels are in Spanish. Well, what 2 channels I can get. Since I almost flunked out high school Spanish, it's not kind of an unfortunate situation for me. However, I do know enough to get the gist of at least the weather report. I guess that's perhaps why the park is so lightly attended. But there are some positive things to this park. The first thing, of course, is the weather. Not like Kansas City. According to weather.com, the months of October to February are usually warmish and dryish. Of course, there have been some cold days and some foggy days. You get that, of course. The storms that occur up north tend to affect this area a little bit. Geographically, this place is about as far south as Miami. Of course, without the ocean currents, it isn't that warm and tropical. Of course, the thing is, we're very close to the Gulf, so moisture comes up off the Gulf and tends to cause some cloudy days that are a little extensive. I would say between 2 weeks before and after the winter solstice, it kind of gets a little crazy around here. But with the generator and the solar panels, I'm able to survive pretty good. Another good thing about this place is that it's very secure. The border guards tend to come by every once in a while, along with the police. And even though the border is like 2 miles away from here, it's there's really nothing going on. Well, unless of course you're a security person riding in a boat out in the middle of the lake. There seems to be a little problem out there. I guess about the only noise you hear is maybe once a month the Border Patrol has a little war game going on. Other than that, it's pretty quiet down here. There, of course, there's no real air traffic, and road traffic is minor because it's not exactly a very popular area to drive. You know, Falcon State Park is rather unique among all the government lands. That's because there's no stay limit on here. And of course it's free. Most government places you have up to 2 weeks to stay. And very few of them have hot showers. And even though there's no dump station here, it's not very expensive to go next door to the state park and pay your $3 to get in. I'll have more about that in another video. The place is littered with water faucets like this, so there really is no reason anyone should die of thirst or have an empty fresh water tank. Of course, it's always good policy to filter any public water source. As far as administration goes, well, the office is closed, locked up, not used. As far as communications go, my AT&T cellular signal gets about 2 bars of 4G, not too bad, and my Sprint Wi-Fi hotspot gets about 3 bars. It gets me by. But one of the more convenient features here is that with my Wi-Fi antenna on the top of my motorhome, I can actually receive a signal from the state park. Free. It's a little slow, and I think it's like DSL speed. And if anyone else decides to connect to it at the same time, it slows down quite a bit. you can't beat free. That being said, I think this park could become far more popular if things were done. A nice thick layer of gravel on the roads would be a good start, if not paving them. And of course the shower house would be really nice if it was replaced with something a little more modern. Maybe something designed like the state park next door. And while we're at it, reinstalling the dump station would be a blessing. Save me, $3 every 2 to 4 weeks. Those are pretty much the main issues. Anything else would be icing on the cake. I mean, the place is free and no one expects anything fancy. Well, that's my initial opinion of Falcon County Park. I hope I presented everything in the most accurate and clear way I could. I also hope that I encouraged rather than discouraged others from visiting this park. Now feel free to comment or ask questions in case you need more clarity. I couldn't possibly have covered everything. And of course stay tuned for future videos about the information on the resources of the area.